Sum it up and it will present the consequences in front of you in this life before it happens in the afterlife. Because a good deed today would always end up giving you good results someday later. You may not have the perspective to see it today that why am I doing this or what good it does to me. But at certain level, after certain period of time, you realize that this was a good deed.
So, do you think that God would have to exist for there to be an afterlife? Or
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So, no God, no afterlife.
It may not be so because God has multiple definitions. I mean, for me, God is someone who primarily I look up to when I'm in trouble. But I may not necessarily remember him when I'm not, when I'm happy, when I have fun. I may not, say thank you so much for letting me having this good time. But I will always ask God, how can you do that to me? So for me, God, it exists only when I'm sad. So afterlife is not dependent on God. If it is there, it's there. It's not God dependent.
That was the last one. Thank you so much.
What's your name?
Vince.
Please. And what's yours?
So, we're at Eaton Center in the food court with this young lady over here. What is your name?
Christine, what is your name?
My name is Serena. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
So, do you think there's life after death?
I think that death is a part of life. When you die, I guess life isn't really over. It goes on even though your soul isn't with your physical being.
Okay, so in the absence of the body, where do you think the soul wanders around?
I think the soul wanders around wherever that person is happy and content. I guess it's in either utopia or their paradise.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
There's one
The lady from a while ago.
look.
It's
you guys again.
So guys, so I know that you believe in life after death.
Yes.
What about you, miss? Yes, I like to believe that there is life after death. What about you, sir?
Yes,
I
no,
would
maybe
like
so,
to believe
I don't
there's
know.
life after death, but I'm starting to begin to have issues with my beliefs right now. Carry on.
What about you, miss? We have someone right here. What do you think?
I choose not to believe in because I think we spend too much time thinking about death that we spend so much of our life learning how to die. So why think about it?
Very many times, too much of our time avoiding death. Anyway, we're getting off topic.
So, couldn't really find an answer. So we decided to go to the root of our beliefs, which is church.
Are we gonna go ask the priest?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Looking over our interviews, we didn't feel satisfied with the answers we were getting. We decided to research more on philosophers who attacked our topic, the afterlife.
So I sent Vince to go on a little mission of his own to look for more answers on our main topic, the afterlife. Sure enough, he came across a philosopher wandering about Yonge Street, Deepak Chopra.
I think religions are obsolete. They're divisive, quarrelsome, idiotic.
Deepak Chopra has been described as many things: philosopher, doctor, spiritualist. But one word I would like to describe him as is fearless. He has written over 40 books attacking many of the difficult philosophical problems of our life, from the mind-body problem, how to stay young. But perhaps the most difficult task he has ever tried to attack is life after death. Luckily, we get to sit down with the man himself, Deepak Chopra. And he told me his quest to write this book began with two events: his father's death and George Bush's inauguration.
I, George Walker Bush.
About 5 years ago, on the very day that George W. Bush got elected to the White House, my father passed away. Very interesting. He watched the inaugural ceremony in India on CNN. And at the end of it, he told my mother, he said, "I think I'm leaving."
Does he really see a connection with that?
I think in a universe of interdependent co-arising, I think he left at a perfect time.
So have you learned not to grieve death or even fear death, Chopra, after having your father die?
If death involves a lot of suffering, I think one would grieve it and even fear it. But if death is as elegant as life was for my father, his life was elegant, his death was elegant. And the simplicity of it was its elegance. I thought it was celebration.
Do you get reincarnated as a soul?
Bits of memory, threads of desire, which are specks of information, latch on to specks of consciousness and show up as recycled human beings. But in the bigger picture, the observer, the observed, the process of observation is a single reality.
So what happens when you die in Deepak? What happens when we're buried down there? And is there an afterlife?
What happens when you die is you return to where you always are. You shift your identity to that consciousness that is differentiating as observer and observed. There's nothing to do.
So we discussed this topic very, very deeply, and in respect to Chopra, this is why I call him fearless. So that about wraps up our video on the presentation of Afterlife. Though we really didn't get any answers to the questions of Afterlife, we did get some neat ideas from a variety of people, from Muslims, not Islam, to Hindus, Christians, youths, etc., etc. All in all, it was a good day. But I guess there's only one way to get the answer to our question.